All right, back at it again with 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profiles. Kenneth Grant, nose tackle out of Michigan, the more tape I watch, the more I like this kid and the more I want him to be a Chicago Bear. Bad. I've given a lot of credit to Mason Graham for Kenneth Grant. I kind of, you have two great players on one team, and you kind of attribute one to be the lead, and you say, well, this guy is the reason, and the other one just benefits from him. The more tape I watch, the more you realize Kenneth Grant is a force multiplier. And he had a really good interview at the Combine where he said he doesn't care who takes the credit. He just wants the team to be successful. And that's what you want out of your guy, to be that team player, to have that mentality. Well, if you want your Javon Hargrave, your DJ Reader, you want your big guy up the middle, you want your Vince Wilfork. I don't know if that's what Kenneth Grant is, but I do know he is a force whenever he's in on the game. He's got a quick get-off the line of scrimmage. He disrupts every play that he's in on. He's equally impactful at run defense and at his pass rush. And as we know, the Bears were one of the weakest run-defending teams in the league last year. He missed, it shows 5.9, but that's not against true run sets. It's one of the lowest in the entire all of college football, down around 2 or 3% missed tackle percentage on true run sets. He takes on double teams consistently. He sheds blocks. He breaks through. He gets pressure. He is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm starting to see, the more I watch the tape on him, the more he might have helped Mason Graham's game just as much as Mason Graham helped his. So I've got him ranked going anywhere here in this range of 11 to 19. Most places have him consensus around this 18 to 20 range. Perfect if the Bears can trade back, because the teams behind us aren't really looking nose tackle. In my opinion, they might surprise you and say, hey, we really like Kenneth Grant. You never know once they do their process and they find the guys that they like. Well, maybe they like him just as much as the Bears do. And one thing that pops out is when he does get that initial get-off on his tape, he always tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Well, his average depth of tackle is actually about 1.0, which means he stops people within 1 yard gains. So that's pretty significant. It's within the top of the league. So I've got him ranked anywhere from 11 to 18, 19. I won't be upset at all if the Bears decide to take him at 10, if they decide that's the path they want to go to shore up the defensive line. If they get a small trade back like Ryan Poles was talking about and be able to pick him up at 14, 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, even more fantastic. But I do think nose tackle is a place we need to focus. He shed down from 345 pounds to 331 at the Combine to be able to show more athleticism off, to be able to have a quick 40 time, which he ended up doing. 4.95 is pretty quick. Good wingspan, a little bit shorter arms, but he doesn't play with shorter arms. He gets into people quick, and he's able to block them and able to use his hand fighting is very elite. And as I always do, I'll read a little bit from the scouting report as we show his film here. He trimmed down even farther from his 2023 year when they won the National College Football Championship. But what they have for him, he's an athletic freak. He made Bruce Feldman's list at number 46 in 2022, where he was 6'4", 360 pounds. He ran a sub-5.0 40. You'll see a play in here where he actually chases down a running back from Penn State from behind. I'll highlight it here in a second. But he's on the freaks list. He's impressive, quick first step, putting immediate pressure on offensive line and quarterbacks. Natural leverage advantage, which compact frame and powerful base, excels at resetting the line of scrimmage in one-on-one situations. He developed pass rush repertoire, including swim, rip, club, and spin moves. Doesn't rely solely on bull rush despite power advantage. Quick processor who recognizes blocking schemes and adjusts, particularly effective reading and defeating down blocks. He mentioned at the Combine when they were interviewing, one of the things that he feels sets himself apart is his intelligence. He says he feels like he understands, and this is just, me going off memory from the Combine. He understands every aspect of the defense, and he can see things before they happen, that he's very intelligent when it comes to that. He has active hands in the passing lanes, school record holder for pass breakups by a defensive lineman, shows awareness when rush stalls. So this is the play right here where he chases down from behind. Can you imagine him trucking you from behind and pulling down like that? 3 years of high-level production against elite competition, proven performer in biggest games and moments, special teams value as interior rusher on field goal block units, and he disrupts pressure on field goal attempts every single time. So he's very valuable. There's not many weaknesses on him. They can say his pad level gets a little bit high sometimes. Needs to maximize his length and extension with the shorter arms. His arms aren't that short. 33 and a half is not sub. I mean, it's not tiny. So sometimes he can be hot and cold on his pass rush plays. He doesn't get enough, but it's more of the scheme with Michigan on that one. And I think he really plugged so much and he took so many double teams on. But you see all the plays he's in on. He's got such special moves. The more I watch Kenneth Grant, the more don't crucify me for this one, guys. The more I might want him more than Mason Graham. We've got Jervon Dexter at 3-tech, and Kenneth Grant is he's like the epitome of a nose tackle. He's been all the way up at 360, 370. Now he's trimmed down just to show off his athleticism. Say he continues to build on his young frame, and he's only 21 years old, and he continues to put muscle on, and he stays at that 330 to 340. He could be a true impact power nose tackle. I mean, he could be for a decade of dominance for the Bears. So I really, really like the prospect of Kenneth Grant. So we'll read his summary here. Grant's going to wreck shop in the right system. The film shows a defender who already dominates one-on-one blocks and has raw tools to develop into a legitimate three-down force. What jumps off the screen is how he consistently wins the leverage battle against top competition. Watch his work against Ohio State's interior line for evidence of his ceiling. The athleticism isn't just testing numbers. His pursuit angles and closing speed show up repeatedly in critical moments. A 4-3 team running multiple fronts will maximize his skill set. Letting him shoot gaps on early downs while developing his pass rush would be the ideal developmental path. The flash, and that's perfect for the Bears. Perfect for Dennis Allen's defense. The flashes are there. His club rip combination against Penn State was NFL caliber, and his swim move is already polished enough to threaten guards. His ability to stack and shed while maintaining gap control will translate day one in the NFL. But his pass rush upside separates him from typical nose tackles with his get-off in this class. The tape against Nebraska and USC really settled it for me. This is, in fact, first-round talent who barely scratched his ceiling. His surface is untested. His combination of power and the point of attack and freakish closing speed creates mismatches against both power and zone blocking schemes. Watch his hand placement improve throughout the season. This is a player ascending at the right time who's shown he can dominate against NFL caliber competition. That's Casey Martinez, scout from the Big Ten. So, there's not much on tape that you don't like about Kenny Grant. He's got good vision for the field. He can shed blockers. He takes on double teams for other guys. He's going to help Jervon Dexter day one if that's the path we go. And I know I do this. I say, well, we could go Josh Simmons. We could go Walter Nolan. We could go – really, there's so many good options here. Kenneth Grant, I would not be upset if we take him at number 10. Not one bit will I be upset if we take him at number 10. If we did a little trade back and we take him, I know a lot of us, we get stuck on where does the simulator show that he is. But if teams look at this tape and they see him as a disruptive force, and that's one of the biggest weaknesses for the Bears last year was the run game, and he misses literally no tackles, and he breaks everything up, and he clogs the holes, and he brings on the double teams like nobody else, and he can free up Jervon Dexter and Montez Sweat and whoever we pick up in a day in free agency or in the draft at defensive end on the other side. Like I said in the beginning, this guy is a force multiplier. He is someone that only creates havoc and only creates positivity for the other guys in the field. There's a reason Stewart at defensive end and Mason Graham on the other side of the line for him were so successful. He's a big part of that. So I really, really like the prospect of Kenneth Grant. I think he could be a big impact for the Bears day one. Let me know what you guys think, though. Is he worth taking at 10? Would you be upset if the Bears took him at 10? I don't think the Bears have taken a look at him yet. They haven't met him at the Combine. Don't have a top 30 visit scheduled yet, but I will be upset if they don't because this, to me, nose tackle, to me, is the clearest path that the Bears probably need to take in this draft, especially if we can get a vet edge or a defensive end here in the next couple days. So with that, appreciate you guys tuning in. 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profile, Kenneth Grant. Bear down.